this is our first garden bed. I'm going to see if I can get some snap peas to vine up this trellis. And so I'm going to plant, I think, 2 rows on each side. I don't have good luck with them really growing in the past, so they haven't really gotten very tall, but it would be fun to try. So I'm going to double up on my rows this year and see if that helps. So we'll do 2 rows on each side of the vining peas. These are the sugar and snap peas that we're going to plant. So we're going to do about 1 inch depth, and then it says 1 inch to 1.5 inches apart from each other. I'm just going to dig a little trench and just kind of drop them in. So we'll see how that goes. You two work together to bring over a couple more bags of soil. Okay, on the other side of this trellis, I'm also going to do snap peas. This is the sugar lace variety. There's the other side has the sugar and variety, so we'll kind of test them and see which variety pops up better. I'm guessing they're going to be pretty similar. But I'm just making about, again, a 1 inch deep trench, and I'm going to do 2 rows of that just to see if we can get lots of peas climbing up this trellis. Okay, like a little deep. I'll fill that back in just a little bit. Okay. So these are going to be our sugar lace snap peas. And I'm sowing these pretty heavily just because I have not had a ton of luck in the past, so. Put quite a few in there. Peas are fairly cheap as far as seeds go, so I don't mind loading that up. And we'll just gently cover those up. Lightly water everything in. These are done of the vining variety. We're going to move on now to the bush variety. So in this spot, we just planted our vining peas over there that are going to vine up that trellis. Over here, I'm going to do some bush peas. I'm just going to continue down my rows, kind of from where I put the vining pea rows. It doesn't really matter. And I'm just going to do 2 rows of these. And it says 1 to 2 inches deep, so I'm going to go a little bit lighter on that. I'm going to do 2 rows. It wants the rows to be about 36 inches apart. So mine are going to be less than that. I do want them packed in here pretty tight. I don't know how well they're going to bush out. And then it says about 1 inch apart. So I'm just going to sprinkle them along here. Now it is late afternoon and there is some shade in this spot. So I'm actually hoping that'll help these peas last a little bit longer through the summer as we go from spring to summer later. I'm hoping that will let these peas stay a little bit cooler and not get quite so hot. We might have a longer production of pea. I'm just going to go ahead and use up all my seeds because I've got no other plans for them. So, okay, we'll cover those up. my tag in so that I know what they are later, hopefully. And then we'll just water them in. And I'll have to keep my eye on these because they don't have the drip set up yet because we're still at risk of frost. We may have to come out and water these a little bit here and there. Kind of depends on how much rain and snow we get over the next couple weeks. So we'll have to keep an eye on them, but water them in good today and check on them throughout the week. And that's it for the snap peas. I think that's all we're going to plant on the snap peas this year. We may change our minds later, so we'll let you know if we do. Okay, so we're going to plant these seed potatoes. So we need about holes that are 2 to 3 inches deep for a trench. That's fine. Now what we're going to do is you're going to take a potato and you're going to find an eye.
An eye?
This is an eye. Okay, where they kind of pop out. This one's easier to see the eye because you can see how that's growing up out there. That's the eye. The eye needs to be facing to the sky. Okay? So you're going to lay that in there so the eye is to the sky. And then we're going to do one of those every, it says 12 inches. Okay, now we got those potato seeds in. Just going to water everything in. We just planted our seed potatoes on that side of this bed, so I'm going to do, I think, 2 cabbage plants here and 2 broccoli plants there. And then later in the season, we'll come along and do pumpkin varieties along this edge and let them grow over the side and out into the field. So this cabbage just needs to go a ½ inch deep, so it's not going to be very far in. And I'm just going to kind of try and center them just a bit in this section, and then I'll go down into my broccoli in that section over there. So I'm going to do just a couple of those in each hole. That's the cabbage. This is a tiara cabbage, so it's a real nice cabbage that has a really pretty round head of cabbage on it. And I'm going to stick my garden marker in there real quick because I'm afraid I'm going to lose these if I don't. Okay, then I'm going to move down to there and do the same thing with the broccoli. This is green magic broccoli. It did pretty well for us last year. We just kind of got it a little bit too late in the season. So it got pretty hot. Didn't love that. And I'm going to stick a couple in each hole. Just barely cover them up. Okay, and that's it for this bed for now. We're going to go out into the field and do some more. We're going to lay them about every 12 inches apart.
Just like that, and then you'll put one on the opposite side in the middle.
Yep, so they're kind of alternating. They're the same as the ones we just did over there. So you look at them, pull it out, find an eye. See its eye right there? And the eye goes up towards the sky. Okay, so we'll use the rest of those that we have, and then we'll use these old potatoes from last year.
Yeah, you can go a little bit further. You're getting shorter and shorter.
About a foot apart, Bree, so you can even stick your foot up there and measure them. There you go. That's good. Yeah. How you doing, Kyle? You staking those in, bud?
Yeah, the only problem is the last one.
There's a rock over on top of that stump over there.
Okay, so I'm going to plant, this is a bed where we've got our snap peas. I'm going to plant a row of the Sun Angel spinach. And that needs to be about a ½ inch deep. So I've got a pretty good trench for that. Tat soy So that's an experiment. That one came from our seed library. And that says a spoon-shaped green that has a unique flavor, has a mellow, almost creamy flavor. So we're going to try that, see if it grows. It says it grows best in the cool spring or fall. We're going to bring it all the way down to the end. And then the tennis ball lettuce variety is only supposed to be an eighth of an inch deep. So I'm trying not to do that very thick, but very deep. So I'm going to start with the closest one, and that's the tennis ball lettuce. So this has a 50-day maturity, so it's probably going to start being ready to go right as we hit. It's mid-April right now, so it'll probably be ready to go harvest right as we hit beginning of June, just kind of as we start heating up. And I'm just going to sprinkle these all the way down this row. And then try not to cover them up too much. Mostly just to make sure they don't blow away at this point. These, you can come back and thin these out. So depending on how good of germination rates, I may end up doing that. Sometimes I do and sometimes I don't. The tatsui, so a quarter of an inch deep. And I have not tried this before. So if you have and you have an experience with it, please let me know because I want to see how it grows for you and how it tastes. But these are little round seeds. Okay, just going to gently fill those in. And the spinach, that one can go deeper, at least a half an inch deep. And those seeds are bigger. So they're going to be a little bit easier to see. I'm just sprinkling them down the row. I'm not even worried about spacing. I think with our crazy springs, I don't know how well these will grow. So these are all kind of an experiment. I haven't done a lot of spring cold weather planting plants. This is a big test to see how they grow. So I'll let you know. We're going to water these in real quick and then go work out in the field. Hard to believe broccoli plant grows from this tiny little seed. Okay, so last thing today for the field garden that we're going to do is we're going to try out the seed tape that I got at the seed swap. So if you saw that video, go check that out. This actually it's a blend of lettuce. So it's 20% of Grand Rapids lettuce, salad bowl lettuce, red salad bowl lettuce, oak leaf, and flame lettuce. And so this is going to go, this row of seed tape is going to go in a quarter of an inch down into the soil. And then if you're doing multiple rows, I don't think we are going to today, you can do those. It says 12 inches apart. We're going to get this laid down our row, which they are working on getting our soil loosened up for that. Okay, so this is our seed tape. It looks to me like toilet paper with seeds in it. It might be, but I'm just going to lay it here, and it just needs to go a quarter of an inch deep. So I'm just going to barely cover that up as I go down this row. And this one we are going to need to water in pretty good just to try and get that toilet paper like substance saturated. So we probably will get the hose. We've got all three things that we planted out here today are going to need watered in. That's the end of that one, so I'm going to grab out another one. Okay, so I'm going to stop there. We'll get everything watered in. There's some corn from last year. Wonder if it'll grow. Okay, thanks for planning with us. It's been a little bit windy and it's pretty chilly out here today. So we have got a lot of work done, a lot of things in the ground. We'll have to watch them the next couple of weeks, probably hand water them a little bit depending on how much rain and snow mixtures we get. So we'll keep an eye on them. We'll keep you updated as much as we can as we go along through the process. But thanks for hanging out with us today. And we'll see you guys in the next one.